So good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. My name is Anne Graham, and I'm going to tell you how delighted I am to see you all. I think everybody's had the experience of planning a birthday party or some kind of event, and you invite lots of people, and including the cool kids, and you really hope they come, and then you wake up that morning and you're like, oh my God, what if nobody comes? And here you are, so thank you, like, what a relief. And also, seriously, all the cool kids came, so thanks for being here. As many of you know, I live in Vermont, and winter in Vermont can be brutal and enduring. It was really kind of a shock to me because I grew up in Hawaii. I lived there for 30 years of my life, and I was, I think, expecting cold, but not on the level that I got cold, and that, especially in Vermont, on the level that Vermont's winter endures for like 6 months. It's rough, and not only is it like rough to like just be in the snow and the ice for like 6 months, but it's also like particularly brutal, especially when you're like at or below zero, and it hurts to take a deep breath. It hurts to be outside. You know, it's actually treacherous to be outside for more than a few minutes, and everything is dead, or so it seems to me. Like in Hawaii, when something's dead, like it's dead. You dig it up, you know, you throw it in the woods, and you're off and running. In Vermont, when it's dead, the amazing thing is, and I think, you know, a lot of people here from the Northeast or have experienced winter, it's actually not dead. It's under an impossible amount of dead leaves and ice and snow, and then the spring comes, and like our grass that was under all this ice and snow is like green, like within a week. It's remarkable. So when I was in treatment for osteosarcoma in 2010 and 2011, I think this was a particularly brutal winter, and it might have been my circumstance that added to the brutality of the time, but it was really rough for me. Like, in between treatments, I'd be home and I'd look out the window and I'd see, a silent, white vastness of no green. It was brutal. My leg was newly limb salvaged up on this, you know, Mount Everest, another white, white mountain in my midst. My leg was up, resting, and it was painful to walk. I had really bad mouth sores due to high-dose methotrexate, so it hurt to talk, to not talk, to eat, to not eat, to drink, to not drink. Like, it was horrible. And, to think, I remember, at the time, that just months earlier I was training for a marathon. How did I get here? And is this survivable? It didn't seem like it. I certainly didn't know any survivors at the time. And I call this time my dark night of the soul. It sucked. It didn't seem possible that the earth or I could recover from this kind of frozen existence, but it does. The earth has recovered from this kind of darkness, from this kind of frozen tundra for billions of years. And so do we. So I took this photo last week. This is my dog, Phoebe. That's popping up in a minute. There she is. So this was taken last week, and we are only out of winter for about 6 weeks in Vermont, and this is an astonishing thing to me. I think especially given growing up in Hawaii and having the experience of something being dead, it's dead. This is a road. This is our roadside. Just a month and a half ago, this was completely dead. It was, and it's a roadside. So the snowplow comes through. It salts the road. It sands it. It scrapes it. It plows whatever could possibly have life. And yet here we are, like 6 weeks ago. There's these beautiful, delicate, courageous flowers that showed up again and again. These flowers, this roadside, winter, spring, all of these things to me are earth persevering. And it's an example to us about how we must persevere. I think we all have people in our lives, especially the people in this room, who know their child, their patient, their doctor who persevered on behalf of them, for them, so that they could live, so that they could come back to life. Is it possible that through a different lens, being salted, scraped, trampled, are needed to grow fortitude, courage, and faith? Saint Jose Maria Escriva said it clearly. To begin is for everyone. To persevere is for saints. Thank you again and always for showing up, and most of all for your perseverance. It causes courage, fortitude, and hope for many who don't even know the hope that they need or will need coming into this space of osteosarcoma. Together, we are truly making it better for the kids and families who are in treatment now and for those yet to be diagnosed. This is huge, so thank you for being our saints. It matters greatly to many and certainly to all of us. So thank you again for being here. So I get to do this, I don't know, at least 8 times. I get to introduce the man who needs no introduction, Dr. Matteo Trucco from Cleveland Clinic, who really had courage and faith in me and saying yes many years ago when we started this conference. And here we are today, and thank you, Dr. Trucco, for being here and for persevering through it and with us, and thank you all again.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you for reminding me that I have to speak after you 8 times during this meeting. While we wait for the slides to come up, welcome everyone. Very happy you are all here. Just wanted to kind of reflect back on the last 8 factors and show where we are now. Welcome to Salt Lake City. This is the, as I said, 8th factor conference. We've moved it around. The first 3 were in Miami, where we started out, but then we started moving it to different cities, trying to kind of cover the whole U.S. Plain states, we're looking at you maybe in the near future. But yeah, it's great that we can move it to different cities so that people can access this conference more easily. And for those of you that have been coming to all the factors, and no matter where it is, again, that's fantastic, and thank you. I need to advance my own slides. This year, we have 7 countries represented, including and 1 U.S. territory with Puerto Rico, which is incredible. Again, this kind of started as a grassroots operation. We weren't sure if anyone was going to show up, as Anne mentioned, and now we have people from all over the world coming, and that's fantastic, and we hope to expand that moving forward. In the U.S., 37 states represented at Factor, which is incredible. Again, plain states, come on. pick up the slack. Uh, Just kidding. We even have people here from Hawaii, which is fantastic. And again, it just shows that it takes a team, it takes a village, it takes a country and a world to accomplish what we want to. 44 institutions have been represented at Factor and supported our efforts, which is incredible. If you don't see your logo here, please reach out to us. We will get it on there. And 10 industry stakeholders at Factor, CERB being the kind of main sponsor, but all of these companies have supported us throughout the years and continue to do so, and we are extremely grateful. And 8 foundations are here at Factor also supporting the effort. Incredible work that each of these organizations are doing, and it's great that they join us and we can kind of move forward together as opposed to each of us doing our own thing. So awesome. We build in time for discussion. We do it usually at the end of the panel to keep things moving. Keep an eye out for Kyle and Bert. They will have microphones walking around. Just raise your hand, they'll come to you. If in your bags, your little light blue bags, there is a QR code for Slido. You can use your phone, get the app, put your questions in there. If you don't want to raise your hand and ask it out loud, we will get to those questions as well. But please bring your questions. I think that's honestly one of the best parts of the meeting is the discussion that happens after the awesome presentations. That really helps people think and helps us move the science forward. So please, 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 there's no stupid questions. Ask them. Hopefully we'll get some answers. There is, as you walked in the little foyer, posters up. Please, there is a poster session at 5 to 5:45 today. But as you're coming in and out during the breaks, please take a look at the posters. It's a great way to share even more of the science that there wasn't room to fit in the actual program. So we have 15 posters out there. Please take a look. And for the speakers, please, please, please stick to the time limit of 10 minutes. Don't be that person that tried to cram a 60-minute talk in a 10-minute presentation. It does not look good. And you'll notice a little flag in the corner there. We have instructed Bert and Kyle to start waving the flag when there's a minute left and wave it vigorously when you're over time. So everyone will know you're over time. Please don't do that. So with that, a couple other things. Please, everyone, take your phones out and silence them so we don't interrupt the speakers. I'm going to do that with my regular phone and my burner phone, as everyone says. And if any of you have envied the string of buttons that some of us have for every year we've been here at Factor, they are actually at the table where the merchandise is. Please go get your buttons, and while you're there, the t-shirts are extremely comfortable. I highly recommend them. With that, I am over time, so I'll turn it over to Sammy Ulloa, who will give our opening keynote.
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Samantha Ulloa, but I go by just Sammy. I'm 22 years old from Southern California, and I'm honored to be here as the president of MIB Agents 2025 Junior Advisory Board, a 2-year NED osteosarcoma warrior, and most importantly, someone who deeply believes in the power of community, advocacy, and perseverance. On August 19, 2022, just 5 days before my 20th birthday, my life shifted instantaneously. I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma in my right proximal tibia. Before cancer, I was a Division I cross-country and track athlete at a private university in Northern California, attending on a full athletic scholarship. I moved, trained, and raced with my whole heart. Running didn't just give me goals, it gave me identity, purpose, and dreams. And then cancer interrupted everything. Within weeks, I went from lacing up for morning runs to preparing for chemotherapy and a limb salvage surgery. I lost the athletic life I had built and had to grieve the version of myself that once felt so certain. But in the unraveling, something unexpected happened. I began to discover new pieces of who I am, not weaker ones, but softer, braver, and more outspoken ones. Cancer pushed me toward advocacy, towards storytelling, towards a community of people who understand what it means to fall apart and then build a new version of yourself from the pieces. On May 7th, 2023, I rang my bell. I expected to feel done, but instead, I felt disoriented. Who was I now? What did my future look like? Where did I belong in a world that had kept turning while mine was forcefully paused? And then I found MIB agents, or maybe they found me. Either way, I was embraced by a group of people who saw me not just as a survivor, but as a person with purpose, voice, and heart. MIB helped me find joy again. It gave me direction and connected me with people who changed my life. Some of my favorite people in the entire world are in this room today. These aren't just friends, they're reminders that love and joy can bloom even in the hardest places. And no one reminded me more of that than my dear friend Penelope. Last year at Factor, I met Penelope, a beam of light in the form of a person. She quickly became one of my closest friends. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. We talked about life beyond the confines of cancer. We imagined futures that didn't feel so scary. Penelope didn't just light up a room, she saw it clearly. She had this sharp, hilarious sense of awareness, a kind of built-in radar for what really mattered. She wasn't afraid to call out the wrong in the world, but she always led with compassion. Even when she was going through the unimaginable, she showed up for the people she loved. She showed up for me. And in November of last year, she entered eternal rest. Even in the wake of that loss, I'm still here. We're still here because we persevere, because that's what she would have wanted. This year's theme isn't just a slogan, it's the heartbeat of this community. Whether you're a patient, survivor, caregiver, clinician, researcher, sibling, or friend, you know what it means to keep going when everything feels impossible. As an osteosarcoma community, we face steep hills, medically, emotionally, and systemically. We fight for treatments, we fight for our voices to matter, we fight for hope. At the end of last year, we watched hard-fought childhood cancer legislation abruptly get cut. It stung, but we haven't given up. We've kept going, because this isn't just about policy, it's about survival, about futures, about birthdays and milestones that should not be stolen. We advocate because we must. Behind every data point is a name, a story, a person. We've lost too many, but we carry them forward. I carry Penelope with me into every room, every story, every moment I choose to speak. Her legacy lives inside mine. I know many of you are carrying someone too, and I want to remind you that we don't persevere alone, we do it together. And we do it not only for ourselves, but for a world that so desperately needs more compassion. We're living in a time where division shouts louder than connection, where policies often take more than they give. But cancer doesn't care who you are, it touches all of us, so healing must come from our shared humanity. Here at Factor, we don't just raise awareness, we build bridges. We create space to be real, to be heard, and to be wholeheartedly embraced. We have so much to look forward to this year, sessions full of innovation, connection, vulnerability, and strength. Whether this is your first factor or your fifth, you belong here, and we're so grateful you're here. This is a community overflowing with love, and it's a privilege to be gathered here together again. So as we continue this conference, I want to thank you for showing up, for saying yes to being here, and I want to invite you to lean in, be open, be kind, be you. Share your story, ask questions, support someone new. Let this conference remind you that you are part of something bigger than yourself. We are united by perseverance, by purpose, and by love. In honor of those we've lost, in support of those still fighting, in hope for what's still possible, and in unity with everyone who believes that better is not just necessary, but it is within reach. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. Thank you for seeing me, and thank you all again for persevering. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce an extremely valued member of the MIB Agents senior leadership team, our incredible fundraising and events manager, Anita Caldera. Please join me in welcoming her.
Wow, they always, let's give it up for Samantha, for Sammy, so amazing. Good morning. It's truly an honor to be here with you all at Factor. This is my favorite time of year. My name is Anita Caldera, and I serve as the fundraising events manager at MIB Agents. And this is my fourth factor. I'm excited to share all the powerful ways our community is making it better through fundraising efforts driven by love, courage, and a shared mission. Cycle for Charlotte, Annalise Yellow Out Day, Smile Like Avery, Miles to Make It Better, The Power of Love and Advocacy, Penny Wars. These are just a few of the fundraisers hosted by families in this room and across the country, each inspired by Because Of. In 2024, we saw an incredible increase in community-led fundraisers, 20 in total, each one a story of hope turned into action. And this is your open invitation, whether during Sarcoma Awareness Month, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, or any time of year, we invite you to make it better. You can host a virtual event, an in-person gathering, or something entirely unique. Your efforts help fund patient programs, educational resources, and osteosarcoma-specific research grants. Hosting a fundraiser event should be simple, fun, and something you and your community are passionate about. And don't worry, we're gonna be here to support you every step of the way. Now let's talk about September, because bow season is coming. During Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, we invite you to support our annual Gold Bow campaign. With your donation, you'll receive a gold bow to display proudly on your office door, dorm room, classroom, mailbox, or wherever you choose. These bows are more than decorations. They're symbols of resilience, hope, and community. And we're also looking for bow agent volunteers to help their neighborhoods shine gold. Visit the Factor Boutique to sign up and be part of this powerful movement. And speaking of the boutique, thank you, Mateo, for the plug. Don't forget to stop by. You're gonna find some new items and some returning favorites like the MIB Vintage Tea and our always popular Outbarking Bananas. And whether it's your first or fifth factor, Be sure to pick up your complimentary attendance button to wear proudly on your lanyard throughout the conference. Thank you so much. It's an honor to share this space with you. I look forward to connecting over the weekend, hearing your stories, and supporting your incredible efforts. And now it's my pleasure to introduce you to our Director of Programs, Isabel Wolf.
Where's the changer? Okay, I see it, great. Hello, good morning. How thrilling it is. Is it up? One moment. How thrilling it is for us to greet so many new attendees to our Factor Conference. Of course, we're equally pleased that so many of our existing membership of families, volunteers, and medical professionals have returned to join us for Factor 24. 5 in this beautiful setting. Hold on a second, excuse me. We welcome our human and rabbit warrior agents who devotedly compose and send more than 1,000 pieces of warrior mail every month to osteo warriors around the world, with special thanks to the sponsorship of AstraZeneca and the Zimmerman Foundation. If you happen to see Sassy and Terry pushing strollers through the halls, maybe have a look inside and get the scoop on F5RS rider bunnies. We acknowledge our ambassador agents who comfort, assure, and gently guide fellow osteo warriors and their families on the disease that bonds us. I spent a lovely day on Wednesday training and adding 7 new ambassador agents to our ranks. We welcome our lead gamer agents who entertain, distract, and protect our osteo warriors and siblings while they game with each other from hospital beds, treatment chairs, their homes, and here at Factor in HQ. On my way home from last year's Factor conference, while sitting at a gate in Atlanta, I received a call from Anjali, a mother whose daughter was in the midst of treatment at Nicholas Children's Hospital in Miami. She asked me if we had rack cards with information about MIB and our programs that she could share with other patients via the hospital. A light bulb went off, bright and clear. We designed and printed our new rack cards within a week. In the years since Anjali reached out to me, we have distributed hundreds and hundreds of rack cards, thanks to the patient families and medical professionals throughout North America. These cards have led families in need of information and resources in both English and Spanish to our OS handbook, navigation packets, and programs, all of which are free of charge thanks to our generous donors and sponsors. We welcome and encourage each of you to assist with the education pillar of MIB by helping to distribute our no-cost bilingual OS handbook and OS navigation packets via those rack cards to your clinics, hospitals, and medical offices. And we especially welcome our bereaved parents and siblings of osteo angels. Many of the parents meet with our cherished Lori Krause in the weekly MIB Healing Hearts group over Zoom. All bereaved parents of osteo angels are welcome to join the 2-part Healing Hearts retreat, which takes place this morning from 10:45 to 12:15 and continues tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 4:30. I encourage all of you to attend one of Lori's Navigating Losses sessions here at Factor, and I am delighted that she has agreed to share why you should. Please welcome Lori Krause.
Don't like that thing. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Isabel, and the entire MIB community for trusting me with the tender hearts of our bereaved families and inviting me to offer education and tools about loss and grief to the greater MIB community. Isabel mentioned I would share with you why you should attend my workshop, schedule a one-on-one session, participate in the Healing Hearts retreat. It's really quite simple. We are all human beings living in a world that has taught us that we need to put on a mask, pretend we are okay, be strong, and not share our emotions. We are all living with many losses and different degrees of grief. If we can connect in that similarity and learn how to care for ourselves and show up for others, we can feel less isolated and alone in our humanness. We cannot manage what cannot be mentioned. If we don't mention our losses, our grief, our feelings, how can we possibly process them and manage them? If we can access our feelings and let them out, we're not carrying them around in a heavy suitcase that gets in the way of everything. Sharing and connecting with others, though not easy, can offer a path forward with a sense of connection and belonging. That is what we are all doing here at Factor. We're sharing, we're connecting, and we're belonging to a community that wants to make it better. Following are the words of a mother who has been attending our Healing Hearts support group regularly. Her words describe the incredible transformation from being fearful of the unknown, uncomfortable, feeling overwhelmed, alone, and isolated in her grief, to feeling acknowledged, understood, connected, and supported. My husband and I would not know where we would be if we hadn't found this group. We feel this is our family, our community, where we can be ourselves. We had no idea what to expect the first time attending. Everyone made us feel so welcome. They have seen us at our most vulnerable and have given us hope, compassion, and connection that we do not have with others. There is so much connectivity, compassion, acceptance, and understanding of how we feel. It helps us to know we have a safe space to help navigate this journey. They have given us the tools and support that have made this journey of loss a little more bearable. I also asked the rest of the community that comes to our group to share some words with all of you of how they have felt from coming to our group and building a community. Comfort, peace, support, understanding, belonging, validation, familiarity, togetherness, friendship, safe space to share my feelings and tears without judgment, resources to help me navigate my journey, grief tools, deep connection, resilience, insightfulness, companionship, remembering the beauty and funny things about our children, coping mechanisms, community of understanding the pain and grief that no one has walked our path will ever understand, growing stronger, hope. I hope these words leave you with a sense of hope, community, and connection. I now invite Bronwyn to talk about family funds. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay. I'm Bronwyn Green. I am mom to Osteo Angel Ian and family fund holder, and I'm here to share a little bit about family funds today, and I actually want to start by sharing our why. Our son Ian was diagnosed with osteosarcoma at the age of 12 in November of 2019, and he passed away just 6 months later in May of 2020. Ian had aggressive metastatic chemo-resistant disease, and so he had a rather short osteosarcoma journey. And we, just through that experience, I realized that we needed to move beyond that. And the reason I start with our personal why is that our involvement with MIB agents began when we started our family fund. We're planning Ian's celebration of life and had many family and friends who wanted to donate in his memory to an organization that would be meaningful to us and that would really honor his journey. Two of the sarcoma specialists that we consulted with suggested MIB agents, and so I started researching and very quickly learned that this was a community that we wanted to be a part of. So we set up our family fund right away, and I learned about every other aspect of MIB agents after that. Family funds are created by families to honor their osteo warrior or remember their osteo angel, and they enable families to become part of a community with the shared goal of making it better. It's a way to have a charitable fund within an established nonprofit organization without having to set up a 501c3, which was very appealing to us. And family funds are a foundational part of MIB agents. There are many benefits to having a family fund. For instance, your family can be connected with another family that has had a similar journey and can provide even more intimate and personalized support that way. There are storytelling and marketing and fundraising tools that you can access to ensure that you can raise funds effectively and meet your goals. And of course, having a voice and active engagement in research through outsmarting osteosarcoma. Each family can direct how they want their funds allocated. 90% of funds may be designated according to your family's wishes to one of these areas or divided among these three. And 10% of funds go to where it is needed most, which is important for ensuring that the whole mission of MIB is supported. It really is easy to start a family fund, and you can start at any point that you're ready, whether it's soon after diagnosis or several years later. There's no fee to set one up, and just $250 raised annually ensures that your fund is active. There's a very simple online form to get started, and then Isabel will help you finish setting it up. And then you determine the level of involvement that's best for your family, which may vary from year to year. There are other ways that it is easy. Each family fund has a page dedicated to telling your story of your osteo warrior or osteo angel, and their customized donation forms. There are options for donors for stock contributions, and donors receive tax receipts and personalized acknowledgement, and you receive daily updates when you have contributions to your fund. This is the page on the website where you can start, and you can see right in the middle where it says set up a fund. You can simply click on that and it brings up that online form, and you can go from there. Collaboration is a big part of everything that MIB Agents does, and these are ways that we work together. There are quarterly meetings over Zoom. There's a monthly e-newsletter called Family Fund Flash, which shares updates and ideas. We gather together at Factor and other events. And then, of course, a big way we collaborate is by funding research together. Fundraising can be intimidating, but I found that it was easier than I expected with a family fund. You can utilize social media to share your story and share information about fundraisers. But if you don't use social media, there are email templates you can use. There are MIB-wide fundraisers that Anita shared about, like outbarking and outbidding. But you can also get creative with your own ideas. And that may be something that another family has done and can give you advice on, or it may be something completely new that's based on your family's interests or your child's interests. And then ask for help in implementing them, as Anita shared. It's important to remember that every penny makes a difference. We've kept our fundraising simple. we've been part of the Gold Bow campaign for the last 4 years for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Our dog Tucker has participated in out barking, and we have used social media with MIB posts that we can share on our own accounts. Outsmarting osteosarcoma is a big way that we work together to help fund research. And family funds have an opportunity to participate in the programmatic review process if you choose. And in doing this, you provide a patient perspective as we review grant proposals. And then there's involvement beyond the funding decisions with visits to labs that give you a glimpse of the work that's being done in person. The Family Fund Advisory Council is made up of 4 to 5 representatives from family funds that serve as a resource for every other family fund and even potential new family funds for people who are considering starting one. One way that we serve as a resource is by providing a voice for family fund holders to communicate feedback and ideas back to MIB leadership. And we meet monthly to discuss these things and just work together. You can find this page on the website as well. This is the current Family Fund Advisory Council. And I tried to fit a lot in a little bit of time about family funds, but if you want to know more, Linda Chelsky and I are both here at Factor, members of the Advisory Council, and we would love to talk to you about it. If you have a family fund and you have ideas or feedback, or if you're thinking about starting one, you can also check out the page on the website or reach out to Isabel. As I wrap it up, I just want to circle back to our why. We started out here because of Ian, and it was through his experience that we recognized the urgent need for meaningful research if we want to see new and better treatment and better outcomes in a future when no child has the same outcome that Ian did. So we started the Ian Green Osteosarcoma Research Fund, and as I think about what it's meant to our family, I could fill up a few slides and take the rest of the time probably, but after Ian passed away, even in the midst of our grief, our family just felt a deep need to see some good come out of our heartache. And I really had no idea how our family fund would enable us to do that. It provides a way for us to have a direct impact through funding research. And it enables our family and friends to participate in that as well. It's fostered a supportive community for us among people who really get it, who understand the world of osteosarcoma and the impact that it has on the patient and the family. And it enables us to tell Ian's story. And not only that, to connect with others through their stories. And I just want to say that it has been such a privilege to hear your stories as I've met people or just read about them. And I just thank you for sharing that because it's all your stories as well as Ian's that inspire us and motivate us to continue our efforts because together we make it better. We started here because of Ian, but we are here today because of every osteo warrior and osteo angel. Thank you for letting me share today, and now I would love to introduce Kara Skrubis, who is our social media manager and junior advisory board manager.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, I gotta make this high. My name is Kara Skrubis. I'm 24 years old from Buffalo, New York. I've almost forgot. I am MIB Agent's Junior Advisory Board and Social Media Manager, and I'm so excited to be here with you all in Salt Lake for Factor 2025. A little bit about me. I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma in January of 2020. I went through MAP chemotherapy as well as MEPACT and had a left above the knee amputation. So talking about the Junior Advisory Board, the Junior Advisory Board is an important role for young adults in the osteosarcoma community to help influence the direction of MAB agents' programs, education, research, for the benefit of all osteo warriors, families, doctors, and researchers. We have a wonderful group this year. We have 26 active members, 16 of which are here today, so please introduce yourself to them if you see them around. Our president is Sammy, who you heard from earlier, our vice president, Mackenzie. Our junior advisory board also includes Allison, Andrew, Alejandro, Anna, Camille, Daniel, Elise, Evan, Jillian, Anaya, Jacob, Keely, Lincoln, Luke, Matthew, Max, Michaela, Molly, Sebastian, Sloan, Sona, Tavon, and Walker. And of course, we recognize all of our honorary junior advisory board members who are not with us here today. Just to brag a little bit about this group, so far the Junior Advisory Board have participated in Osteo Bites and the Osteo Podcast. They have participated in social media campaigns. They've been given copious amounts of valuable feedback to the cancer community while also sharing vulnerable and honest experiences. Some of these experiences include attending and speaking at various conferences, including MSTS, SARC, ASCO, and Dogbone, as well as being featured in various PR articles, including The Cancer Letter, GLP Films, local news outlets, and even People magazine. To go back, speaking about social media, if everyone could take a moment and take out their phone, take a picture of this slide. You can have all of our social media. We exist on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, and Pinterest. So you can add us on those later tonight. You can also have these beautiful pictures of Sammy and Mackenzie. So follow us on all this social media to stay up to date with everything that's going on, all things MIB. And during the conference, please tag us in all your pictures, all of your stories, and use the hashtag #WePersevere to see all of our great Factor 2025 content. So thank you for being with us here today, and I'm now pleased to introduce MIB Agent's senior leadership team member, our director of the scientific programs, Christina Eptoma. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Christina Iptoma, and some of you might recognize me from your inboxes, but I am not a spam bot. I am a real person. And I am also the director of scientific programs at MIB Agents, and I'm also mom to Osteo Angel Dylan. And so I am, oh shoot, press the wrong button. There we go. I am so happy to be in the same room with all of you finally, and very excited for what is to come over the next 2 days. So a little bit about MIB Agents scientific programs. So the goal of scientific programs at MIB Agents is to drive and support education, collaboration, and research in the scientific community to improve treatment options and outcomes for osteosarcoma patients. And I'm just going to give a brief overview of some of our scientific programs, ways to engage. So Osteo Bites, hopefully some of you are familiar with that. It is our weekly research webinar series. It's on most Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, and it's a live webinar format, so scientists can share work and people can ask questions live. There are also 156 episodes on our YouTube channel that you can catch, also at your favorite podcast place. And it's really a wonderful educational resource. And next up on July 10th, we have Dr. Kelly Folk from the University of Colorado. She's going to be talking about the losartan sunitinib trial. And you can register on our website. And even if you can't attend live, when you register, you get a link in your inbox the next day with a link to the recording. So it's always great to just register even if you can't attend live. Osteo is our AYA cancer podcast that tackles social and emotional topics, created and hosted by Osteo Warrior Sammy, who you just heard from, and also Mia. And it usually drops on the third Thursday of the month. And now in its fourth season, there are 26 fantastic episodes that you can binge. It's also available on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. It is a really great resource for AYA cancer patients to plug in to a larger community and feel understood, heard, and seen. And I also always recommend it to clinicians and scientists because it just gives you a glimpse into the real life issues that AYA cancer patients grapple with on a day-to-day basis. And we are so grateful to the Moore family for their generous support of Osteo. Turbo is our tumor review board for osteosarcoma. So we meet every other month on the second Wednesday at 5 p. Eastern, and clinicians present complex cases for discussion. Researchers are also invited to attend to learn about real-world clinical challenges. And because we are virtual, it's on Zoom, we benefit from global participation. Our next meeting is July 9th, and if you're not already on the calendar invite, you can go to our website, sign up, and we'll get you added. Okay, so we know comparative oncology is a big part of our data and clinical trial ecosystem to accelerate discovery and translate treatment to humans. So we have a canine trials resource on our website. We have information about participating in canine trials. We have a directory of veterinary oncology programs in the US and Canada, as well as a list of open canine clinical trials. And this afternoon, we're actually really excited. We're gonna be screening a comparative oncology documentary called Shelter Me, The Cancer Pioneers. And the creator and producer, Stephen Latham, was actually supposed to be here. He was really excited to be here to introduce the film and answer questions. He just had a conflict come up last week, and he's somewhere else filming. But we're so grateful to him for giving us the opportunity to screen it and share it with you all this afternoon. Okay, CureOS is a working group focused on advancing single-cell research to improve patient care. They meet quarterly, and sometimes we have special speakers. They meet to share work. They're divided into two subgroups. One is focused on intratumoral heterogeneity, and one on the tumor microenvironment. And there's also a Slack workspace, and they are currently working on collaborating on a manuscript to provide a roadmap for advancing single-cell research to improve clinical care. And they're hosting a breakout session this afternoon. So if you'd like to participate in that conversation, they're seeking input on some key questions to help with that roadmap, and that is this afternoon. And we're so lucky to have several of our CureOS leaders here with us at Factor: Giovanna Pavicic, Corey Weistick, Dan Regan, Emanuela Palmerini, and Anand Patel. So if you're interested and you want to learn more about CureOS, make sure you find them here at Factor and chat them up. Okay, MIB Agents also funds research through our annual Outsmarting Osteosarcoma grant program. We have a $100,000 HERO grant and a $50,000 Hope Young Investigator grant. And this is our 9th year. So since 2017, we will have funded $2.5 million in research supporting 32 studies, thanks to the amazing fundraising of our family funds. We are very excited to be presenting our 2025 awards later this afternoon. And if you're interested in applying in 2026, our LOI will open in September. So if you want to stay on top of all of the stuff going on, all our programs, we also have community updates, updates on education and research, as well as just kind of a roundup each month of the latest papers and articles, and even job postings in a section that we call Career Connections. You can subscribe to our monthly newsletter called Connective Issue. We have like great names, right? Connective Issue. And if you just go to our website and click the join button, you'll be added to the mailing list. Okay, I want to highlight a few special things that are happening at Factor this year. So we have a research bee. So this is kind of in the tradition of like a quilting bee or a sewing bee, where you have a community that has a shared goal, and they work on something collaboratively in a social setting, weaving individual contributions into something greater. And so the goal of these research bees is really to drive enrollment in research studies. So we're hosting one at Factor with the Count Me In Osteosarcoma Project. So patients and caregivers, I hope you can attend. It's Saturday morning, 8:30 for caregivers, 9:45 for patients 18 plus. And in the future, there will be virtual opportunities with other studies as well. Okay, other ways that the patient community supports science. We have 13 family funds this year supporting travel awards for both patient families and scientists to Factor. So thank you so much, Family Funds, for your support, not only of the patient community, but for supporting science. And further bridging the patient and scientific community, we have 24 mentor meetups at Factor this year. So mentor meetups are when we have MIB junior advisory board members who are interested in pursuing a career in science. They have breakfast with some of our scientific attendees, and they create these impactful connections. And thank you so much to all of you who have participated in those this morning and some tomorrow. All right, we have a very packed agenda over the next 2 days. And I mentioned already that CureOS is hosting a breakout session this afternoon. And you also have the option at that time to watch the comparative oncology documentary, The Cancer Pioneers. We are also so pleased this year to partner with SARC. They are going to be leading a coaching and mentoring session for young investigators also this afternoon. So around kind of the 3 to 4:30 timeframe, you can choose from one of these 3 options. There are also a couple of wellness sessions at the same time. You can find those on the wellness agenda in the program and check those out, because that might be something you might be interested in attending as well. So one of the best things about Factor is that we all have a shared passion and a common goal. And this conference is intimate enough that you can really engage, interact, and use the opportunity to connect with others. So I recently saw this really great art exhibit when I was at the Legion of Honor in San Francisco. So if you're in the area, I highly recommend it. It was a Wayne Thiebaud exhibit, and it was called Art Comes from Art. And Thiebaud was really open about how a lot of his artworks were inspired by other works from artists that came before him, or even some of his contemporaries. And I was so excited I was walking through this exhibit, because it was very beautifully cohesive, but also I just could not thinking about all of you in this room. So some of these works you might recognize. These are some of his more well-known works, Thiebaud's cakes or some of his landscapes. And he painted this work called Canyon Mountains in 2011-12. And fun fact, this was actually inspired by the time that he spent in Utah when he was younger. His family moved here during the Great Depression, and his grandmother was actually one of the original Mormon settlers. So he painted this work, and when he talked about his inspiration for this work, he said that it was inspired by this work by Morris Louis called The Left Calf. And so you can certainly see some similarities in this work, right? The verticality of the pigment on the canvas in Lewis's work, and the verticality of the cliffs in Thiebaud's Canyon Mountains, as well as the color palette. And Morris Louis said that his work was inspired by this work by Helen Frankenthaler, who's an abstract expressionist, and she was one of the first artists who used this technique of pouring pigment directly onto the canvas. And Morris Louis actually visited Frankenthaler in her studio, saw this work, and that's what inspired his The Left Calf. And so when Thiebaud talked about where inspiration comes from, he said art is not delivered like the morning paper. It has to be stolen from Mount Olympus. And he really saw art as this continuum where artists build upon the ideas and practices of the artists that come before them. And I think that is so relevant to our highly collaborative community, where science comes from science. This is a work by Thiebaud called Mountain Layers, and I love this quote from him where he says, "I think we have a misconception about where painting comes from. It's not a hermetic activity. It doesn't come from an individual. It's a communal, commemorative, very layered activity that comes from groups of people. And if you think of painting's history, you find these enclaves of people who worked together, who helped each other, who depended on each other. You need confrontation. You need critical interrogation." And so we like to say that when you come to Factor to collaborate, and then you leave inspired and re-energized. And I know this is a very cerebral group, but let's face it, this work is really challenging, and it takes a lot more than intellectual curiosity to keep you in this game, right? It takes a lot of heart. And so we're very grateful for your passion, your dedication, your resilience, and your perseverance. And I hope that over the next few days you draw inspiration from the scientists and clinicians in this room, but also from the wealth of patient experience that's in this room. And likewise, all the work that's being done and the huge brain trust in this room gives the patient community hope. And speaking of hope, this work here is an original piece by Jillian Okimoto, who's an osteo warrior and a junior advisory board member. And she created this work inspired by our theme, This Year We Persevere. So Factor really is a place to ignite and feel your passion and your inspiration. It's a safe space to collaborate, to find a mentor, to be a mentor, and to really find that joy and wonder of being hooked up with a whole community of people that you love and admire. So inspired by the beautiful mountains around us, let's kick off Factor 2025, and let's go steal some fire from Mount Olympus. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have 6 minutes for Q&A, if anyone has any questions for us. Kyle and Bert are over there with their red flags. And I will also say that Kyle and Bert are both from Hawaii, so all your questions will be met with aloha over the next 2 days. Questions?
And again, that whole session was just to give an introduction to people that are new to Factor, of which there are tons of people, by the way, of all the other things that happen with MIB agents and around Factor. And in fact, Factor is kind of like the anchor, I think, for all these other activities. So please try to, as much as you want, get involved in all the things that MIB does.
Is it on? It's on. Okay. So Katie Janeway, Dana Farber, doctor and researcher, I just want to say thank you. This was an amazing opening ceremony, and you guys do so much for the community, and thank you.
Kaplan, can you hear me? Yeah. I just want to echo what Katie just said, but I also want to add how much this group has grown. I mean, I'm just like, look at all these people, and it's amazing, and it's all the work of so many people working really hard to get there. And another note to self, never wear mascara to this meeting.
I just want to add that Kyle Okimoto over there with the, do you have a flag? He is Jillian Okimoto's dad, and Jillian's been on our junior board for several years now, and I just, one of my favorite things in my life is the junior advisory board. So I always have to add a little bit of something about Jillian here. She is currently in a program at Brown. It's a Brown RISD collaborative program. So she's attending both Brown University and RISD at the same time. So her art, which is that's our speaker art, I would hang on to that piece of art if you get to be a speaker and you get that speaker art framed. I think it's already valuable, but Jillian is just a complete rock star artist, and we're really honored that she made this piece for us.
Good morning. Thank you. I agree, it was a lovely intro. We are first-timers, my husband and I, Ed. We lost our son January 2024 to osteosarcoma. My question really, I think, is for the junior board. When you do you have programs for siblings of osteo angels, and what does that sort of look like? Our daughter's still in a pretty heavy grieving process, so I'm not sure she's there yet, but it would be great to know if there are resources and a community that, because I think right now she feels like no one understands what she's going through, and I'm looking at the sea of people here, and must be people who understand what she's feeling.
That's a very great question, and I'm also very sorry for your loss. We do have opportunities for siblings of Osteo Angels. Of course, we have our Healing Hearts, which is great with Lori. Our junior advisory board is also made up of Osteo Warriors and Osteo siblings. So we have a few siblings on our junior advisory board of Osteo Angels. So I encourage her to apply if she was ever interested, but we're also all here to speak to her at any point if she would ever like to. We also have gamer agents, which is a great way for kids to connect with other Osteo siblings or Osteo warriors in a fun and kind of mindless way. Yeah, anything to add?
Oh, I will also just add that the Osteo, me and Sammy did a fantastic episode on siblings, maybe last fall, that you can probably find that. And that's just a great place to start. And I know you guys are actually planning on doing another sibling-focused episode later this year. And Dr. Quisquo from CHLA, who's a ped-onc, who unfortunately he lost his brother to osteosarcoma, also participated on that AYA podcast. And he also wrote a beautiful article about his experience, which I'm happy to share the link to that for you. But I would definitely even just connect with that episode as a start. And probably even listening to all the other osteo episodes, it's a lot of the same feelings and sentiments that she can probably relate to as well.
Last question.
Hi, I'm Elaine Green. I'm one of the representatives of the new growing demographic of women in their 40s and 50s that are getting diagnosed with telangiectatic or osteosarcoma. And I was going to ask if there was any interest in expanding the forum for siblings to now also potentially be that new demographic of children who their parent has gone through. I know, for example, my son would love to be part of the gamer. So just wanted to put that out there as an idea. Thank you.
Yeah, I think definitely that's something we're very interested in. We, one of our junior advisory boards, Luke Carter, his uncle was diagnosed with osteosarcoma and have the Scott Carter Foundation. So definitely some community there as well.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up just so we stay on time. And then bio drivers panel, if you guys want to come up, we'll get that started. Thank you, everyone.